Hey folks, Amy from Colorado Mountain Living. We just finished up a busy weekend of trench digging, which wasn't really on the agenda. I was telling you guys that we were going to get started on the stepping of the house on the side, like starting on that sort of mini retaining wall, stepping down, terracing off the side of the house. But something had to happen in order to get that done, and that was working on getting our Wi-Fi cable secure. So you may have noticed in videos where you've seen this cable in the tree and maybe scattered across the ground, and really that was our Wi-Fi cable that was installed last year. And the cable company did us a solid. You know, they really helped us out by giving us a free installation and 500 feet of cable, but the agreement was we would have to dig the trench ourselves. But by the time we had our Wi-Fi cable installed, it was really getting to the freezing month, so we didn't really have time to do it last October. So here we are, looking at that Wi-Fi cable in its permanent home, and in this video we're going to show you all the steps that went into just what you might think of as a simple trench install or simple cable lay. Got a little bit more complicated. So anyway, just going to give you a quick update on that. We are prepped and ready for tomorrow. Bryan is going to get started on the side of the house, the terracing out of the steps, and the final use of the railroad ties. So Bryan is putting the tractor to the test. Like you may have seen in the video before this one about our expenses, Bryan's used the tractor a lot for excavation. And it does a pretty good job. You know, it's better than hiring someone and paying all that money, but it does take a little bit longer because, you know, less power. But he's able to, you know, dig through rocky soil, which would take forever with a shovel. So he's getting started on the trench. He's actually following along the original electric trench, just not going as deep. You know, the electric line is buried over almost 2-3 feet deep, and he's just kind of getting about 8 inches down here. So you can see where the cable is right here, and here is the edge of some conduit. This is where it goes under the driveway. So the one thing that we were able to do last year was get the conduit for the cable to go under the driveway, so we weren't driving back and forth over the cable, because that would be ridiculous. And Bryan had wanted to do some trenching work alongside of the driveway anyway this summer. That was on his to-do list. Unfortunately, during a plowing incident, he broke the cable last winter, and we had to have the cable company come back out for a repair. Here's the place where he had to splice it. Look at that. Apparently that's good enough. So there's a little splice network right there, and that is good enough for a repair. We still have internet, as slow as it may be, as limited as it may be for uploading, but they gave us 500 feet of cable free with installation. So yeah, Bryan had wanted to work on the trenching along the driveway. He wanted to push it out a little bit. Well, how's the trenching going?
Good. I'm only going down like 8 or 10 inches. And what I'm going to do here is I've already got a trench for the drainage. So I'm going to move the drainage anyway because it's too close to the driveway. So I'll just lay the cable right in there. And then I just have to move it a little bit right here. So I have to dig a little bit of a trench right here for the cable, because that's the drainage for the water, the culvert pipe. So I'll move the drainage for the snow melt back that way, about 5-6 feet, and funnel it right into the culvert. So it's pretty convenient having this trench already here.
Well, it looks like it's going pretty fast, seems like.
Yeah, I'm not digging nearly as deep as before. I'm right on top of the electric line, so it's easy to dig. But I'm only going down, like I said, 8 to 10 inches. It wouldn't I pressed it like 10 times, it wouldn't start the stupid.
So the tractor's in the middle of its regen cycle, and so you just have to leave it, and you have to just get off it and let it do its thing. An automatic thing. And it goes for 45 minutes?
30 to 45.
God. So there's a couple phases. The first phase is just to get the trench for the cable. So you're doing it in two phases. You're filling in everything to bury the cable.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be...
And then I'll be adding the ditch. The drainage ditch for the spring runoff. So it all gets funneled here and not down into Dave's house.
Right.
Otherwise, just overflow the driveway.
Yeah.
You know, before it was like right here.
Yeah, it was
now
right.
I want it to be like way back here.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get a couple feet off the trees there. That way. Now, if you get off the driveway, you're not sinking in the ditch. That way, you know, every now and then you're driving down or you're using a snowblower, you want to be able to get off the driveway further.
Right, okay.
So,
Yeah.
like when we were plowing last year, we were constantly...
Yeah, it's getting a soft
Yeah.
tire, getting stuck.
Yeah.
Okay. So look at all these rocks that come out when you dig up a trench around here. You just can't throw this back on top of the cable. But fortunately, we have a solution for our backfill needs, and that's using the topsoil on our property. We're lucky to have about 20 good inches of topsoil that's rock-free. In fact, we've used this for filling up the garden beds, and right now Brian's using it to backfill the trench for the cable, at least the trench that's on the lower section of the driveway. We've got another plan, you'll have to see, for the upper part of the trench for the cable. So taking all this lovely loose topsoil, backfilling, so a nice, soft, rock-free solution for this particular trench for our Wi-Fi cable. And it's working out pretty well. So our trenching project continues. And, you can see the little bit of trench here along the side of the house. This is going to go all the way into the house, right where all the connections meet. But we're trying to think of, what is good, some good conduit we could use. And we had all this leftover PEX tubing from the radiant heat install, and it's been outside in the sun, exposed to the elements for the year. So I don't know if it's really good to keep and use for plumbing purposes, but boy, we certainly could use it for conduit. This is great. The little Wi-Fi cable would fit great inside, and it's got some of that flexibility that you don't get with large conduit that can kind of snake around corners like that. So we're gonna give this a try here. Brian. So it goes in pretty easy. Usually it fits pretty good, but it gets to a certain length where suddenly it becomes really difficult to keep pushing the cable through. So it seems like we're gonna have to cut the PEX tubing into sections, shorter sections, to be able to maneuver the cable through it. There's no chance of it having one long piece and still being able to push it through. So after a few trials, we figured it's about, 10, 15 feet max is what you can kind of use as a section to get the cable to go through without getting stuck. So, looks like 20 feet is your limit for being able to push it through. So as we got our system down, you had to have one person on the end ready to grab the cable as it came out of the tubing. And it was always tough to kind of get those last few inches out, so you had something to grab onto. But then we cut our sections and we'd kind of push each one through. And then it came time to start pulling the sections down the hill. And that was, so you needed one person to hold onto the cable itself, and each person would move a section down the hill. It was kind of tough, with all that slack in there, but we're going all the way to the driveway. That's where the conduit under the driveway
started, right? So I think when I got down there, I was able to push the PEX tubing maybe 4 or 5 inches into the driveway conduit, and then we matched up all of our sections from there. And then because it was in sections, Bryan had to tape each of the sections together, so we wouldn't have any bending. So he did a pretty secure electrical tape wrapping at the joins of each of the PEX tubing sections. And then the next challenge was working on getting the tubing under the retaining wall. But that was already planned for in the retaining wall build. So we actually already had conduit in place for that.
Your special screen trap. How?
Grab that. Hold that instead of the.
And another fortunate circumstance is that the PEX tubing actually fit inside the diameter of the conduit that was on the outside of the house. So he could just kind of shove it up in there.
See that red dot? That means the line is down. That's the one we want to see turn green again. It's blinking. We have to wait for it to turn solid. It might take a minute. Oh, it's blinking faster. It's not red. That's good, because it was red. Okay, it's solid. Now we're waiting for internet. Looks like, oh, it's red. Oh, it's green. Oh, it looks like it's regular. Okay. See if we got, I think it's working because we got the blinkies. Woo! Wee! You got this, Corbin.
It just means when you dig something up, you start to refill it in, I feel like you have a lot less dirt.
Yeah, that's what happened.
So even though we're using the PEX tubing as conduit, Bryan is still using the topsoil as the initial backfill before he rolls all those stones on top of everything. So he's taking time to go and dig up a lot of this topsoil before he backfills and pushes everything in. So kind of happy to finally be done with this big trench that we've been looking at for years. No, we knew we had to bury this cable eventually, but luckily there was still quite a bit of dirt on top of the original electrical and natural gas line trenching, so we were just able to follow on top of that. And definitely got to test out the tractor and, get our money's worth yet again, being able to do some trenching work ourselves.
Bryan behind me on the tractor, he's bringing up the final soft dirt. He's transporting that topsoil over some of the delicate areas of the trench where we have a lot of rocks. He's really been trying to move some of that topsoil, lay on top of the conduit or the PEX cable. But, definitely was a big job. It took all weekend. So we thought we were going to get onto some other projects like the side of the house. But this cable project was pretty intensive. And I think it's just another reinforcement of seeing what you can do with a tractor with both the backhoe attachment and the bucket attachment. So, might take you 5 times longer with a tractor compared to a full-size backhoe. But, it's a job that we didn't have to hire out. And it's a job that Bryan was able to do in 2 days, digging the entire trench, albeit a shallow trench, and backfilling. And I think he also is going to be getting to that drainage along the driveway as well. That might actually happen tomorrow. But anyways, guys, just wanted to keep you up to date on our last couple days over the weekend. Sort of a big job done there, and looking forward to this terracing of the side of the house next video. See ya.